Hello, people. How's it going? Yes. First of all, disclaimer. When it comes to biblically based movies or Christian films or Christians, anything, based in the Bible or Christianity or particularly Judaism, I am very picky. I am very picky. Picky probably too much. I probably am. I'm very picky. And I'm going to keep saying because that's probably the big word here. I want them to be good. I want them to be good plots, storyline. I want the landscape. I have every aspect of the story. As I keep saying, to me, it's got to be believable. I'm very quick to note in these films what I don't like about them. It's usually the first thing I notice is what I don't like about a lot of these things. Not all of them. I mean, some are doing pretty good. But let it just be known that when it comes to biblically based movies or plays or stories or miniseries or anything else that has to do with the Bible, or you get the idea. Now, when it comes to this, because I was told by several people I should watch this, and it took a while for me to get around to it. I got this at Half Price Bookstore for $10, which is probably why I bought it. I'm cheap. Not really. I haven't, but anyway. I will just do what I liked about it first. I'll try anyway. The acting was good. The acting is fine. The acting is good. The main characters, and you know who they are, even though they tried to hide one, it becomes obvious who she is. I think the reason they gave her the name Lilith in the beginning was because I think they were trying to associate because Lilith is Jewish mythology folklore. It was actually supposedly the first wife of Adam. And she was turned into a demon because she didn't want to be subservient to Adam, which was not have been the original plan. That was after the fall, by the way. Adam and Eve were equal partners when they were created. Unequalness happened at the fall, but anyway. But they called her Lilith, I think, because it connotates her fallen state, her because of the demons inside of her. Because supposedly Lilith actually is the first vampire. If you go back through Jewish mythology, Jewish folklore, she is literally the first vampire. Look at what she does. But anyway, I think that's why they changed her name from Lilith from Mary. This is the Mary Magdalene character. She does a very good job of portraying someone who's just downbeaten and just at the end of her rope and just doesn't know what to do and is unhappy and depressed and doesn't. I don't know if I should do any spoilers, but she does try to do something, something with her life, and she doesn't do this because I'm assuming it was a symbolic angel or symbolic of Holy Spirit, maybe, because there was a bird that flew over her and it looked like a dove. We'll get to the reason why I have a problem with the scenery, but it's not really the acting fault. Her acting is wonderful. I mean, she does Mary Magdalene very well. I mean, she doesn't come, she's not this glamorous Mary Magdalene. She looks like a normal person with some serious problems. Well, if you're demon possessed by 7 demons, you can have serious problems. Correct? Correct. Is that me or is that the video? The video seems to be having a problem. Anyway, hopefully they'll fix this all. I hope not. Anyway, her acting is wonderful. She does a very... I don't know what her name is. I'll have to check. But this first episode portrays her very, very well. I like her acting. I like the way she portrays the character. I like the way she emotes emotions and shows feelings and has a history. And you see some of that history in the beginning of the film, in the beginning of the episode. The guy who plays Nicodemus, I'm not sure it works for me right now. I see glimmers of Nicodemus. I see the glimmers of him. I see where he's questioning things and where he's wondering. And he does have a wife who's not helping. I'm sorry. She's not a very good wife. She's not understanding. He's struggling. That is very obvious too. While he's trying to, see, this is why I have a problem with this character. I shouldn't say problem. Is that I'm not sure yet. I'm seeing Nicodemus yet. I mean, it's the first episode. I mean, come on. I'm seeing one episode with this guy, and overall, yes, it's fine. He's good. He does a good Jewish Nicodemus because that's what Nicodemus was. He was the leader of the Jews. I'm not sure though it works. But it's only the first episode. This is just the beginning. I'm sure he'll be fleshed out. His character will be built up more, and so on and so forth. You meet Matthew, who immediately you know it's Matthew because he's being sent to the tax collector's office, and you can tell this might be the only casting I shouldn't say I have a problem with. I wonder. He's awfully young, I think, to be a tax collector. He comes across as being, he might be the weakest character right now in the story. This is the Matthew that when Jesus says, "Come follow me," he leaves his tax collecting thing, his booth. I believe it's a booth. But this Matthew, I don't know. I don't know if I see it yet. I think he's one of the weaker weaker characters in this first episode. Hopefully, I keep being told how great this series is, and maybe it is. This is only the first episode, so I don't know. But right now, this Matthew character, I'm not seeing it. I'm not quite visualizing him being that Matthew of the scriptures of the Bible. Now, granted, I could be wrong. His character may develop as time, and it will. I'm sure it will. But right now, I don't see him as being a strong character. I just think his character is too young. I think the person who's playing him is too young. But we will see. We will see in the next, when I do the other episodes. Now, the Andrew and Peter dynamic, they do come across as brothers, and they are brothers. They do come across as brothers. They do come across as family. They do show Peter's wife. Well, Peter was married in the Bible. He was married, and he does show he has a wife, which I thought was a very good touch. That is very biblical. That is an aspect that I don't think I've ever seen that in a version of the life of Christ when they do a movie about his life and the apostles. You never see his wife. In this one, he has a wife, and he should have a wife because he had one. She does a pretty good job, even though you barely see her. I mean, she's vivacious and she's fun. She's pretty. She's vivacious. She's a add-on character that I hope they do a good job of keeping her as a very interesting character because she looks like she has potential. The Peter character is, I'm not seeing it yet. I'm not seeing the Peter I'm used to. That might be part of my problem, is I'm used to a certain type of Peter. But this Peter does come. I think you know what it is. I think one of the things it is these actors seem to be too young for the Peter I'm visualizing. And I have to remind myself, I don't know how old they were when Jesus called them. They could have been this young. They could have been. How do I know? I wasn't there. Do I look like a Time Lord? And do I look like I have a TARDIS? Yeah, actually, I do have a TARDIS. It's right there. It's a little model TARDIS. But I like the Peter and Andrew characters. They are brothers. They definitely act like brothers and siblings. They're not badly done. I'm hoping it'll be more of a more interesting plotline as it goes along, and I'm sure it will. I already talked about James. Now I'm going to talk about the two things that kind of throw me off. Well, three things actually. Three things. One is hold the camera still. Stop shaking it around. Stop doing this. Constantly. I'm doing that. It's like I can't sit still. It drove me crazy. It eventually did stop here and there. But the entire time it's this. It's like, stop. Please. It's distracting. Now my two major problems, I shouldn't say problems, because it probably gets better as time goes on, is the landscape looks very dreary, very brown and very gray and very It's Israel. There's going to be color. And yes, they were under the oppression of the Roman Empire, but there was still color. There was still life. People were still going about their business, living their lives the best they could. There was color. The only color that I've seen so far that's bright is on the Roman uniforms, or the capes they wore. We'll get to the Romans eventually, believe me. That might be my biggest issue. And I'm Jewish, and I might be defending the Romans here. But it's the landscape. I get what they're trying to convey: the bleakness, the unhappiness, the sense of just God has given up on us. Where's the Messiah? I know what they're trying to convey. I know they're trying to convey a sense of just utter hopelessness of a situation. And the landscape should always play a very big role in these films, and it does. But I think it sometimes can be a little too much. I mean, I get why they're doing it. It makes sense. I get it. But it can't all be that bleak. Have some color. Have something other than the red Roman capes. It's a my problem. It's a me issue. I'm going to assume that eventually it gets better visually anyway. That's what I'm thinking of. Visually for the landscape. Because even though there was the occupation, there was still color. Okay, it wasn't just brown and gray and gloominess. It just wasn't. Now we're going to move on to the Romans. They look like they're wearing costumes from a high school play. I'm sorry. But they do. The Roman uniforms look dorky. I'm sorry, but they do. And then this is what happens when a historian watches a movie, okay? We cannot be pleased. We cannot be pleased no matter what happens. We got to find something. I think I found my biggest problem is the Romans don't look like Romans, and they don't really act like Romans 100%. They don't. And I know it's me. I'm a historian. It's my own inability to accept the fact that you can only go so far for realism. But the uniforms really do look like hand-me-downs. They don't look authentic. They don't look like the Roman Empire would have worn these things anywhere near a battle, let alone while they're occupying Israel. Excuse me. This is so far, I'm liking this so far. Believe it or not, despite what I just got done saying about certain aspects, at this moment, I'm not finding this a bad show. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not. Again, I'm not finding this bad. I'm finding it worth watching more. What I want to watch more. Because people keep telling me I should. And I don't, there's nothing about it that tells me don't watch it anymore. It's boring. Because it ain't boring. It's not boring. It's not dull. It is interesting. It has potential that I like. I mean, I'm going to assume that a lot of these characters that I've talked about, that their characters will be fleshed out more. This is only the first episode I'm talking about. I can't expect the Peter of 20 years after the fact to show up. Or the Mary Magdalene character to show up. Or Nicodemus to be Nicodemus as we know him in the Bible. I'm just saying that I really am hoping this is good, because people keep telling me how wonderful this thing is. Why am I holding it up that long? People keep telling me that, oh, you gotta watch this, you gotta like it. And so far, I don't dislike it. You gotta realize, the historian in me and the just person who wants to enjoy a good program are at war with each other. Okay? At the moment, the other one is trying to tell the other one there's a problem. And they're minor problems. But look, the scenery thing is a minor problem. It really is. It's no reason not to watch it just because not everything is bright. Or because the Romans don't look perfectly like Roman soldiers. That's a silly reason not to watch this. Watch it because it is interesting. I am hoping, as these episodes go on, that these characters will be more and more built up, and so on and so forth. I mean, overall, I am liking this. Despite my misgivings, or my historian's misgivings, or my historian who can't get out of his own way because he can't simply enjoy a good program, the conflict of being a historian and a writer, by the way. By the way, that's Peter. That's not the Jesus character. That's who I was forgetting. He shows up at the very end. Thank goodness he doesn't look like a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Norwegian. He looks Jewish. Way they're supposed to. And he looks like an ordinary Jewish guy. He doesn't look like he would stand out in the crowd. You know, he hopefully, I'm really hoping that this character is very well done. Because so far what I saw was very well done. He was normal. He looked like a normal Jewish guy, which is what he's supposed to look like. He's not supposed to look like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Norwegian or Gentile or anything else that he's been portrayed in the movies and the TV shows. But anyway, on a scale of 1 to 10, at the moment, only got episode 1 here, I'm giving it a 7, which for me is pretty good, actually. Believe it or not, people, I give most things a 7. It takes a lot to get to 8, 9, and 10. I think the only thing that's a 10 is Fiddler on the Roof. That's my favorite movie of all time. Shocking, I know. But yes, this is worth watching so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. So yes, I recommend it. I recommend if you think anybody else would like to know about the Chosen, to share this, like, comment, subscribe. Behave yourselves, people, because you know I'm not going to. Later.